Welcome in everyone to the Challenge After Show. Tonight, Jenna, Pamela, and me, apparently Olivia as well. We're all talking about the challenge, battle for a new champion. It's the reunion part one. Ladies, we're getting another hour and a half next week. Ladies, I'm not gonna lie to you. This is one of the best reunions I've seen in the past 5 years. So congratulations to the challenge. They did something right this year. I absolutely love this reunion. And we can get into details, obviously. Jenna, you're up first here. Tell me what your overall thoughts, and then we'll go to Pamela.
Overall thoughts are, I love this Olivia. I love baby Olivia.
Oh.
Olivia tonight looked bad. Not as good.
Her
Not
and
as
Jay,
good
her and Jay
Olivia.
looked the worst for sure. And the craziest thing about the Jay thing, it's like he thought he was such a big part of the season, and they barely talked about him. They just crapped on him for 2 seconds, and they're like, "Let's move on because you're so freaking boring. You bring nothing to the table." So yeah.
No, I'm glad you said that, because when you brought up Jay, I was like, wait, did I miss something? Because from my perspective, I didn't think that they laid into him nearly enough. But that was your point too, is that he was pretty much like looked over, like
Right.
they did not go into Jay as much as they could have, as much as I expected. I thought he was going to be more of a topic, and it was really brushed over. But overall thoughts, I agree. So first off, I will get into every detail, but I loved the opening. It felt really real and kind of, it is produced, right? Because you see everybody kind of walking out one by one, they're kind of like pacing out who enters at what time, but it felt authentic to be like behind the scenes and see them all kind of go to their seats and see everybody's emotions before Maria goes live. So I really liked that element of it. And it just, so much happened in like the first 5 minutes that I was like, wait a second, can we slow down for a second? Because there was a lot of people yelling at each other, and then Maria just kept saying like, okay, we need to move on. We need to move on. I was like, no, please don't move on. This is good. So there was a lot of like whiplash in the beginning of just like everybody talking over each other, and a lot of topics that I wanted them to expand on.
Yeah.
Mine, it's funny, I'm not on the same page as you guys. I thought Maria was great. I thought when they got into the issues I cared about, it was great. Almost everything else, though, like the games and like, let's bring out a balance beam for Corey. And that cold open that was like taking us behind the scenes, I thought was so not good.
Really? So,
oh yeah, I was like, this is so fucking stupid.
so
It's
I
just,
was. Oh, sorry, Pam. Go on.
Oh no, it's a thing that Bravo does. I feel like that's like a thing now ever since they're like, la, 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 like you're getting a look behind the scenes. And I felt like, oh, come on. It just didn't ring true to me at all. I don't think it felt very produced. I didn't like it. And I liked when usually I like the like side fights and drama. And I was with Maria when she was like, that's how I felt. Like, everybody shut up, let her ask a question and answer, because a lot of these people just say things that don't add up to a lot. So I liked the stuff, the hard hitting. I liked when there were questions asked and questions answered. There was a lot that we didn't get to that I really wanted to get to, but I liked the things that they got to.
I do totally agree with you on the fact that a lot of things were not expanded on. There was a lot of things I was like, wait, why are we moving on from this so quickly? Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
And they might have cut it. Honestly, there might have been more to it, but they just cut it just to move on because they had so much stuff they wanted to get to. But Pamela, I wanted to bring something up that you said, because I was 100% with Jenna with that behind the scenes stuff they did at the beginning. That to me felt authentic. Now, what I wanted them to do, Jenna, though, was throughout the show, every time they like went to a commercial, they've done this on past reunions, where then they go to a behind the scenes in between each segment. They would go and do behind the scenes throughout the reunion. And I thought that's what they were going to do. And I got so excited. I wrote down like, oh my God, I love it doing behind the scenes to start it. I hope this continues throughout. It did not.
Yeah.
So that's what disappointed me.
But the way it was, it just seemed it was a big eye roll for me. I was
You didn't think that was authentic though, Nerys being upset about seeing Olivia and stuff?
Walking. I'm like, oh, give me a no one stormed off a fight. Like,
oh, man, why did I buy into this so much? I bought into everything.
Well, I think what made it feel authentic is because Nerys actually did have real emotions. Yeah. I think without that happening, it wouldn't have worked, because then there would be no reason for there to be this behind the scenes. But the fact that you see how nervous she is to walk on the stage, Then when she's sitting there and sees Olivia, she gets even more anxious, starts crying. You see Maria interacting with her as Maria is getting like her final touches of her makeup done. You see other people just settling in, also being like, what's going on? We haven't even started yet. How is she so emotional? So if that hadn't happened with Nerys, otherwise I think it could have come off like fake and produced, because like you said, Pam, then it's just like Olivia to the floor,
That's how I
Nerys to the
felt.
floor. Then it's just like a voice, you know, you hear like the
Yeah.
director like intercom and everybody walking out, but and then they wouldn't have had a payoff, but they actually had something happen in that moment that was worth that behind the scenes follow along, you know?
You know what? You're right. The Nerys confessional, I actually liked, but like all the other noise, I was like, just get to the reunion. There was too much other chaos going on, but the Nerys part of it, I liked that she was just.
Yeah. I feel bad that she was that emotional, you know, because if anything, I mean, Olivia shed some tears later on in the reunion, but if anything, Olivia should be the emotional one because she was the one that did her friend so dirty. Like,
And
poor
she
Nerys,
Same.
she did get emotional.
But when
yeah.
they showed that scene, Jay was there. Remember when Jay was crying? Why wasn't it Nerys? Why wasn't Nerys there?
Yeah.
I couldn't remember. People said no, Jay was there. Jay knew, and I was like, even that's so lame. And it's like you're on camera. How can you act like you didn't know?
Yeah.
Just he befuddles me.
All right, well, let's go to the beginning of this thing here. Our old boss from AfterBuzz, Maria, she is the host with the most. And I think I sent you ladies both this. Didn't we see some challengers? I sent it to you. Like they were at the AfterBuzz studios, and we were both like, all of us were like, are they reopening that or not? Not that I plan on going back, obviously, because this is so much more convenient than going all the way in there. Well, yes, this is not so much convenient having Olivia, but
Yeah,
yes.
so people who watch us probably will comment if you've seen this. It looks like Nerys on her Instagram story was in the AfterBuzz studios, the way that we remember it, the way that it
And
looked like.
Kylan too, right? Kylan was there with her, yeah?
I think Kylan, and she tagged Kevin Undergaro, who with Maria is the founder of AfterBuzz. That's Maria's husband. And I think she said like big things on the way or something. So AfterBuzz was like closed down from the pandemic from, you know, that's why we started doing this over YouTube and Zoom. And so I haven't seen any shows of theirs. So it looks like they might be reopening. It looks like Nerys is going to be doing something with them. So that's all we know. We have no idea what's going
Whatever
on.
it is gone. Because by the time I looked at your link, I was like, what are you guys
Oh,
talking?
really?
Yes.
It was a story.
Okay, so
Oh, it's
yeah.
a story. And it's like,
Okay.
I'll say this, AfterBuzz has not contacted me to re-up with the after show here for the challenge.
I can't believe it.
I honestly, I would I have no idea, and I'm 1,000,000% making this up. I was there not too long ago, like physically drove by, and like everything looks the same. So I would assume it's not like they got rid of the studio. They might be. I would assume that Kevin and Maria are still using it for like, why not?
Their own stuff, maybe, for sure.
Yeah, but I mean, he does podcasts. She does a podcast. It's like, wouldn't you just record there if you had that space?
Maybe they're just renting out for individuals to just use the space, not necessarily broadcast it live, but they can use it to look more professional when they're doing their own. Everyone's got a podcast now, and a lot of them put them onto YouTube as well when they're doing their podcast.
Yeah.
Who the heck knows?
I don't know, but I'd like to hope that something is going to happen with it. Not that I'm going to leave Palm Springs and go back there.
I was going to say, none of us are near North Hollywood anymore, so none of us would really technically make that drive.
It'd be nice if they reopened to some capacity to have, because when I watch shows, that's how I found AfterBuzz originally. I was like, what happened on the affair? And like found AfterBuzz commentary. And I wish it was still there, that I could listen to people comment right after the show, because you don't get as real time as we did. So.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's move this along here. We talked about Nerys crying. A couple of no-shows tonight. Well, we thought Horacio was not going to be a show, but then he popped in. And the other no-show was Berna, because she is filming Survivor Turkey. And I said, wow, she must suck on that show too. Why the hell are they bringing her on for that thing? So, Jenna, last week, Pamela and I just talked about how Berna should not have been, like we talked about, I thought Colleen did a better job than her. Just like, my God, Berna, how bad are you at this final? But
it was incredibly annoying and frustrating to watch her in a final because all she did was whine and cry and say she wanted to quit and that she didn't want to do things until something worked in her favor. And she was like, yes, this is perfect for me now. And
We
it's like,
talked about
okay,
that.
well, yeah.
Yeah.
We said, Berna, you can't pick and choose what you're
Yeah.
good at to
Like, thank you,
perform.
finally. Also, it's like it's the same shit, just smaller in a smaller area. So you're just saying you don't have endurance? Like it's the same dumb shit you've been
But
doing.
like, I don't watch Survivor. I don't, Pamela, you watch it, right? No?
No,
Okay,
no.
but like I thought on Survivor, like you don't get anything. Like you have to survive on just like killing things and eating stuff. She couldn't drink a drink from TJ. How the hell is she going to be on Survivor? And was that her original show or was she on something else? Like,
No. She was, I think, I actually don't know. I don't think, no. I think she was on something, but not Survivor.
either way, like I would think that she would not be good at this, considering she couldn't get through the challenge where they cater her meals for her most of the day. So I don't know,
She's
whatever.
so uncool. Like you
I
have to
think
spy
it
why. Like
is-
she's,
I think that is her original show. According to
really?
the Challenge fandom wiki,
Yeah.
she was a contestant from Survivor Turkey 8, Survivor Turkey 9, Survivor Turkey 12. So she's been on it multiple
Yeah.
times.
So
And how has
what?
she done while you're looking
I
at
don't
that? Because I
know.
feel like she would suck at Survivor.
Yeah, I'm confused because like maybe she's great at Survivor, but I don't understand how that does not translate over to the challenge because Survivor, you're like days and nights like outside, you're building stuff, you have to survive the elements, and then she can't handle running on in a challenge, and she like passed out on the ground like hyperventilating, and then oh my god, all of a sudden you have to drink something you don't want to drink. Like, what the heck? I don't understand how that doesn't translate to the other
Yeah.
show. Yeah.
I feel
Anyways,
like, oh, I feel like she must suck, but now I'm like, wait, I don't watch Survivor. Like, I have no idea what you have to do on Survivor. So really, I can't say.
I thought you
on
just
Facebook.
survive. And then you have to like vote each other out or something. I thought, but
Right.
whatever.
Well, I'm like, she's not, but Michelle isn't either. I was gonna say she's not mentally cool. Like, if you have to keep your cool, she's not like composed enough to be.
Yeah.
Yes.
I will say, you know what, you just brought up Michelle, but she was actually pretty composed. Sure, she had some moments where she stood up and was saying her opinion, but she always just like laughed it off and she had an overall like really easy, cool attitude this whole show, which I thought, people have commented on her and their dislike for her and her being annoying or this or that. And she seemed really fun and cool tonight.
I didn't mind her at all. And I actually liked the one moment where she's like, Laurel, you didn't know my name. Like you thought,
Yeah.
like, I get that Cara Maria blanked, like we don't know each other. But like, come on, Laurel, I'm gonna call bullshit. And did Laurel get a new accent since we've last seen her? Did Laurel
I didn't
spend
notice.
time?
Oh,
Oh, she developed a Boston accent. You
okay.
haven't.
Well,
did
look,
Her
she?
and Cara must be friends again or something because she's like, you come in here talking that stuff. I'm like, Laurel, what
I
is
think
this?
it's because on All Stars 4, I think she hooks up with Nicole again, that Boston Nicole girl, New York
No,
Nicole girl. So maybe
Nicole's
she's
Long
getting it from
Island.
her. Have you seen the previews for All Stars 4? April 10th, it's coming out. And I believe Laurel is hooking up with Nicole again. And everyone's like, what are you doing? She's going to cheat on you or something. I swear I saw this.
Yeah, because from the attention I have paid to it, I feel like Nicole is engaged and Laurel wrote they've had social media beef where she's like, "Oh, you cheat on her too," and
Oh
Nicole
man.
wrote like, "No, because I respect her." Like,
But
like,
another reason I want to say how much I love this reunion part 1 is because they had the veterans there, the real champions, and they were bringing hilarious commentary. Devin was great.
oh,
Even Laurel was over the top, but I was enjoying her being ridiculous. And Cara was throwing in some one-liners here and there. Darrell didn't say much, but when he did, I think next week he's going to call out a soft for saying something. So like all these, they're great. They're the challenge. Like these new people don't have it. I got Callum over there trying to say stuff. Like he's trying to put sentences together. He cannot do it. Like, God, Ed, they didn't even talk about Ed at all. Ed like raised his hand one time to say, hi, I'm here. Sorry,
Yeah, poor
Pamela,
Ed.
but Ed was not involved. So whatever.
Well, I
And then
liked that the champs
Zara.
were,
Yeah, no Zara.
yeah, nothing from Zara yet. And a lot of what they showed at that beginning teaser, right? Like tonight on the reunion, you're getting, and we didn't get half of that because it's going to go to part 2. There was a lot of things we didn't see. But what I liked about the champs being there was that Maria was able to ask them really direct questions like, hey, who do you think was the shadiest? What do you think about this Master Alliance. Do you think that, and this is the first question of the night, right? Do you think that Emmanuel is a deserving winner?
Yes.
We learned, first off, when she said that, I was like, oh, I love that she said that, because they know what the audience is thinking. They know that the viewers are upset this season because Emmanuel didn't actually do much to compete this season. You know, he was a part of a good alliance, and that's it. And that got him $250,000. That got him the championship. I mean,
Yeah, and
he performed.
Devin called it out, Jenna, because Emmanuel didn't have to go against any champion to get there, and he's like, yeah, he's the winner of the losers because none of those people had ever won
Yeah.
against a champion, and
Yeah,
even anyone in the final, none of them faced a champion except for no, not even Narish. She just faced other people on the show. So that's the point.
right.
Is and I love that Devin called it out like that. It was a great call out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was funny of Devin, but it was awkward because nobody
Why?
said anything. It was dead silent and crickets after he said that. And I
Because it
think
was
that
the
he
truth. No
thought
one
he
had a
said
good
something,
rebuttal.
like, so clever and funny, and everybody was just like, it was so awkward.
Oh, I liked it. I thought it was like silence because it's like, snap, they are losers.
I thought it was more awkward
Okay,
when
good.
people had to say, yeah, Emmanuel is a true champion. I thought it was awkward when Maria asked that, and I think Tori was like, yeah, he is. Yeah, and other people said, yeah. In my head, I'm like, nah, him and Casey, they're like champion adjacent, but okay, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, again, we talked about this 2 episodes ago, the first final. He did compete the best
Yep.
of the finalists in that first episode of the final. He did. He did more than pull his weight in all of those partnership tasks. He excelled. He did the best of everybody there at each individual task. He for sure did. But it's just when you look at the roster of the final, the people in the final, it's like you just want to roll your eyes because everybody there except for Nerys shouldn't have been there. So I love that she asked that question at the reunion. And she's like, well, is he a deserving winner? And then all of a sudden you get this tidbit from Nerys where she's calling him out for not
Yes.
being the real winner because he's cheating Sudoku completely off of Colleen, which, I mean, it brings up, like to everybody's point on stage tonight, the two sides of that sword. It's like, yes, everybody does kind of do that. And it's kind of like, if you really suck at Sudoku, wouldn't you? You know, like, wouldn't you maybe look over at somebody else's puzzle and copy it if you could? I think anybody in the game probably would, but I'm more on Neresa's side of things because, like, she is doing the work herself and she's doing everything herself and she worked her ass off and she could have won the whole show had he not cheated or not
And
looked.
this
So
is
I
the
see
one
both arguments.
This was the one issue I had with Maria that night, is because she pushed that conversation to the next topic when she said that. When Nerys called out Emmanuel, instead of letting Emmanuel try to put a sentence together and rebut it or admit it or whatever, Maria goes, all right, well, let's move on. I'm like, no, Maria, this is the shit everyone wants to hear. I'm sorry, Livy. But
Yeah.
I swore in front of my child, like, this is what we want to hear. The fact that Nerys is an old school challenge vibe. Like, she will call it like she sees it, and she calls out those things. She's not worried about being canceled or about not being asked back. She's like, I'm going to say what I want to say because this is the truth, and I'm going to speak it to everybody. She's not speaking her truth. She's speaking the truth. I hate when people say that. It's my truth. No, there's the truth and then there's lies. There's one or the other. So she's speaking the
Or there's
truth.
your opinion or your
That's
perception,
what
but it's not
Pam,
the
you and I
truth.
talked about that,
Yeah.
right? It's an opinion, right?
Right. You can have your feelings on something. It's not the truth. Anyway, Nerys should have won. Having said that, correct me if I'm wrong. So the last three people though were Emmanuel, Nerys, and Corey at the Sudoku, right?
I can look at my
Nerys,
notes.
no, Corey was struggling with the balance beam. It was
Corey, Nerys, and I think Emmanuel.
Well, Emmanuel obviously. Berna
Colleen
couldn't
finish before Corey.
Berna was doing the.
Well, Berna cheated off Colleen 1,000,000%.
Yeah, Colleen went over and did the balancing thing after her Sudoku to finish up.
But at the Sudoku, I feel like because Nerys and Corey were stuck, I feel like this is my Dan's conspiracy corner for the night. It's like he was the first to cheat off Colleen because he was probably the closest, but then you two probably did right after him. So like maybe you could have. I feel like that is fair. And I wish Nerys won, but having said that, he was really doing well the whole time. I hate the Sudoku. I wish they would get rid of it in the challenge.
Yeah.
Someone that does it all the time was stumped. I feel like it's really an unfair game to have there, because if you're doing it without a computer, we just listen to what we said last week, but if you don't know which is wrong, it could take 20 hours to like
Yeah.
read. I just feel like it's not a satisfying game to have in there. And so I feel like Sudoku I don't care about.
I hate
And
it. I
we'll
hate
probably
that they
all
put
round
those
up
in
having
the
to
finals.
someone just get, it's just, I don't like it. I mean, I feel like they should
Yeah.
have a lesson on the mountain when half the worthy players quit because they
I
couldn't
hate to
finish.
have a whole final decided exactly what you're saying by like a 20-hour long puzzle, you know,
Yeah.
something like Sudoku, you either have it or you don't, and it's not really an equalizer. And I kind of feel like it's looks like filler and they just throw it in there like, oh, we can't come up with anything else, so just put Sudoku in there. Like it kind of seems
Not fun
lazy
to
to me.
watch. Like
It's
I'd
not
rather
fun to
watch the
watch.
tanagrams, which people get like that's
And it influences the outcome way too much because
Yeah.
it's yeah.
Yeah,
But
because
I
you could
really
spend if you don't know where the wrong number is, like feel like it could be an eternal loop of doing it literally forever, endlessly, if
yeah.
you're not finding out where, unless I'm wrong, and I'm no math wizard. But yeah, I just don't like it. So for that, because I'm mad at Sudoku and math, I'm like,
Yeah,
I
but
would cheat.
considering that was about the entire outcome of the final and the winner of the show, they moved on from that way too quickly. Like they just brushed
Yeah.
it under the rug. They're
Yeah.
like, well, you know, think whatever you want to think. Like a win's a win. Okay, let's move on.
I guess they don't. That is where like the rules, like Maria's not allowed to sit and go, is it a valid? I mean, beyond, I don't know why they had the question then, but I don't think they're allowed to sit and have that much invalidating of the
Yeah.
winner. Just-
Well,
One
and
of my
they didn't,
favorite
and Maria didn't ask that. Maria didn't ask that question. Nerys just brought that up. The fact
Yeah.
that
Right.
Emmanuel, I don't think that was on the docket of the evening of questions for Emmanuel.
Right, like whether he cheated or not.
Right.
One of my favorite things is Big T and Melissa in their sparkling matching gowns with their, I loved it with their crown. I loved it so much because let's just think about it. Like they sure they were friendly with everybody in the house and they had like friends in the house, but they weren't a part of any alliance. It was those two versus the
Oh
world.
yeah.
So, and they know that going into it. So I love that like they just have each other's backs and they're doing their own thing because everybody, they were outcasted by everybody else anyway. And they're just like laughing at everybody's faces and not taking things too seriously.
Yeah. Do you guys, I mean, this might be because I'm older, but the Muppets and the two old men, the two old
Yeah.
men in the theater, just like looking down and making fun of everybody. Like that's, and they were placed higher up too in the chair area. So they reminded me of that the whole night. And, you know, I will say Melissa is somewhat entertaining with the random crap that she was throwing out. She's not afraid to speak her opinion, blah, blah, blah. So like, I mean, I still don't like her as like a challenger, but like she was giving us some fun comments.
Yeah.
And but then again, I still think it's ridiculous. We can talk about her going those two versus Corey. I mean, I was on Corey's side for that stuff. I think that there's in-game stuff and there's out-of-game stuff. The fact that Big T and Corey are both gay, yeah, great. Relate on that all you want. That's like, but that doesn't mean you can't still like go against each other on the show. You can Corey was separating the two things. I totally got where he was coming from with that.
Yeah.
And the fact that they couldn't separate what he was trying to talk about, they just kept, I think they were just upset and they couldn't get over that. And they're not friends anyway, so who cares? But yeah.
Well, that's where Corey, just on Corey, similar to the final, like I sort of always start out don't liking him, and then he gets me liking him, and then he does something to totally ruin it, right? When I'm like on board the Corey train, then I was totally on his side with the whole argument that, listen, that was a special night and a moment, you coming out, and I wanted to express that. Whether I did a shitty thing, he apologized, but then he added insult to injury with we were never even friends anyway. Like that's
yeah, I don't know why you had to bring that. That was the one thing. I don't know why you brought that up.
It's
Yeah.
just a bitchy end.
But I think that's an exact example of what Melissa was trying to articulate. She's trying to say, like, you basically just act so sincere and genuine, and then you're a complete dick in the same sentence. So I think that was her point. Yeah, because I understand where he's coming from. Like, yeah, there's gameplay and then there's being friends with people on just like a human to human level, and you can separate those. But I think the problem with his is that he came off like such a douche on the show when he did reveal that he was not working with them and he was manipulating them the whole time. So I think that's probably why they were taken aback. Not the fact that, like, oh, you're also playing the game and we happen to not be in your alliance, and we happen to like, you're using us for information. Like, that's one thing, but the way he presented it, I can understand where they're coming from because they have this beautiful heart to heart, right? This great sincere talk about something that they can relate to. And then we see like turn on a dime and he's like, I've been using you. I've been manipulating you. I think it's the way that he delivered it that's
Yeah.
what's hurting them, is because he came off, it was just in such a douchey way that it didn't need to be said like that. And so I can see why they would be like very off put.
Mhm.
Also, Melissa said something about Corey screenshotting pictures of Big T like in a vulnerable state, like she was like no makeup and her wig's not on, and you're screenshotting them and putting them on the internet. And I was like, whoa, like that.
Oh, I didn't get that.
Yeah.
I thought it was they were talking about I have I didn't even catch that. I'm
That
gonna have
stuck out to me as like, well, that's shitty. Yeah, I can see that being bad. So I can, I think what the issue is that this is their life and we only know a quarter of it. So like, how are we
right.
going to comment on it? I think that there's so much more there. I think that there's a lot of that we're not understanding from Big T and Melissa's side as to why they're hurt from Corey. I think it's more than just that game move, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
But what you just said makes complete and utter sense because I think the reason why Corey said, well, we're not even friends, meaning we hardly have a relationship. It's not like I screwed you over and told, we've never really been friends. Sort of, I get his point, but he always blows it with something stupid like that because he was making sense at saying everything he was saying and apologizing. And then it's like, exactly. And then you go and do something that makes you a jerk again. It makes people look stupid. And why? What's the point? Yeah, it doesn't seem to make any sense. And I'm glad Devin said, so you lied to them and you're lying. Like you just lied to everyone. It was just Corey trying to make big moves with like
Yeah.
no real thought, follow through to
Yeah.
it was stupid. It wasn't good. It was like, ha ha ha, I'm gonna do something, twirly mustache. And it's like
Yeah.
hurt people's feelings because you played them to on a vulnerable issue to make them sort of feel trusted by you, and then you screwed them over, but for no reason.
Yeah.
And it's not like that's why he got to the final. It's not like his alliance was like, Corey, you did what we asked of you. We trust you again. It just worked out that
Olivia, okay.
oh,
What
yeah.
bothered me really quick about that, well, the one last thing in Corey's defense is like Big T's like, well, I didn't want any of your advice. He's like, I wasn't trying to give you advice. I was just trying to be there for you in your big moment of the coming out. So that was one thing. I was like, Big T, like, he's not trying to like be your new best gay friend and give you all the advice on, what it's like to be gay and all this stuff. He just was just being there to be supportive. And then she kept bringing it back like, but I'm not taking your advice. I don't want to give you the advice.
All of them did start yelling a little too much. I also do agree with Corey. I love Big T and Melissa overall. I heart them. I like her hatred of Asaf. I don't think it makes any sense. I don't think
It was hilarious.
It's
Who
hilarious.
who likes Asaf besides Jay? Nobody seems to like
nobody,
Asaf.
and he looks ridiculous. I mean, like the way, at least here, equal opportunity, making fun of like the girls that are like tryhards. Like Asaf looks like he's like just some like wants to be on the cover of a romance novel. He looks fucking ridiculous.
He was actually giving a little bit of Shakespeare, you're right. And Melissa gave one of the best lines when he was saying something back to her, and she was like, okay, you're obsessed with me, and it's actually really weird. Whether that's true or not, I just found it a funny line.
I like it too. I like them. The actual content of what they have to say to these people is not actually correct. I was actually like, well, on this, I am Team Asaf. I mean, I'm Team Melissa and Big T,
Yeah.
but Asaf never said, I'm never saying your name. We're in alliance because we're both parents. He didn't say that. So the whole like, how could you turn around and do that to me? It's like, I never said I wasn't going to pick you. I just said I'd be like, hey, listen, parent to parent, I'll let you know what's up. Like that's not it. That's not some betrayal. I think Melissa has there's no, meat in her sandwiches but I enjoy watching them. And again, she was the most entertaining on the show.
Yeah.
And
Well, I think like we've seen everybody on this show takes everything incredibly personal, and you can turn anything into like this big betrayal. We keep seeing that like season after season. But in terms of the betrayal of Nerys and Olivia being brought up, I mean that I guess I was a little bit surprised to find out that it does sound like they were really, really good friends coming onto the show, because you never are quite sure like how real a friendship is with a lot of the contestants, whether it was like, oh, we did a season together before and we're allies, so we're friends. But it did seem like they came in best friends, and in my opinion, Olivia was not looking good after
oh,
this
really?
reunion. Yeah, well, sure, I get that she's definitely apologetic and she admitted areas where she was wrong. But with the whole story of Nerissa's brother sharing information that Olivia apparently said, Olivia was asked like, well, what did you say? And she's like, well, it was not as bad as that, but like didn't answer the question. And I was kind of thinking, it looks like you did talk crap about your friend and you got caught doing
You
it.
got caught, 100%. Jenna, you nailed it.
Yeah.
And the bigger story here is too, Anissa's hooking up with Nerissa's brother.
Yeah, right?
I want to see what Nerissa's brother looks like. I want to see that situation. And then they said, oh, during pillow talk, Anissa's just saying all this stuff to Nerissa's brother about what Olivia is saying to her.
Did you hear Cara? Cara's like, because that's Anissa. That's
Yeah,
I know, right?
I love Cara and Darrell. Shout out too. They were just like the cool kids that came back into town. Like they looked cool.
But that's what I'm saying. Didn't it feel old school
they were
challenge
like,
with that stuff? That felt
but
so
Devin and
old
Tori are
school.
still a little junior to them, where they're like still like not trying, but like giving all their 2 cents. Cara and Darrell they were like the cool version of the Muppet guys, like literally sitting back with their arms crossed, like impress me. I don't know. I loved it. I loved every second of them.
Yeah. But in terms of like just the Nerys Olivia thing, I think Olivia looked wrong. But with Olivia and Horacio, I felt like I could see some of Olivia's perspective of maybe, in the house, she felt like she was trying to talk to Horacio or like be cool in the house. And maybe she felt like he was ignoring her and not saying hi to her. Like I could see a little bit of her perspective there. But like in the Nerys situation, I definitely was like,
so I see what you're saying there, Jenna, but let me throw this at you. Olivia appeared on like another podcast and she admitted what Pamela and I have always been talking about, that Olivia and Horacio were not really ride or dies. They got put together by their management team and it's a nothing. So the fact that she's I think she's using it as an excuse, like, oh, my best buddy ever does it. You guys weren't even friends before the thing. Yeah, I know. I'm with you, Olivia. I'm upset too. So
who did Nerys do that to? Nerys didn't do anything.
So I mean, that's my point there. Like, I think Olivia is using that as like, oh my God, this will be the last thing people might forgive me if I just make it like I'm just really sad that my best buddy Horacio, even though she admitted on a podcast they weren't even really friends. So why are you so upset? You were partnered for a season.
Okay, I think this is and I think there's capital F friends, like, oh, this has been my friend all my whole life. And then there is challenge best friends. So even though I really do think Nerys and Olivia were best friends. And by that, I also think that means that they hung out for a couple of weeks after or before. I don't think that in life they are best friends. If everybody calls everybody JR and Michelle are everyone's best friends. Nerys just said Highland was her best friend on Twitter. Olivia was her best friend. I mean, everybody's best friend. So it means someone that you're really cool with and you care about and you like is your best friend in challenge world. So I think that even though they were legitimately real friends, I don't think it's like comparing it to the way you would call your best friend.
Yeah.
Where it's like we have years behind us. I think they met a year ago. So yes, they really loved each other, really did hang out and really did probably text about things. So having said that, you're right, Jenna. You're totally right that at the end, it's like, well, you said something, obviously. It got twisted or out of context or whatever, which I think Nerys seemed super cool about understanding, which is actually very big of her. It's like, listen, people say shit about, you know, if someone said, oh, what's up with you and Nerys, you're hanging out with her so much. And she said, like, I don't know. We'll see. Like, she always makes me buy her beer. Like, she's broke. Because I'm like, who would say she's broke? Like, what is, in what context? Like,
So,
I always have to buy her drinks. Like, I don't know if I'm going to hang out with her more, something like that. I feel like it's so, who knows, pulling that. And that obviously they did care about each other. And that was, I thought Olivia, to end this, I feel for her. I don't think she was right. I think she was 100% in the wrong. I think she's taking that on the chin. She knows it. She's sad. And hopefully Nerys can forgive her. But I think she's being as sincere as she can be. I don't think she looks good, but it's like, what can I do?
yeah. No, I
She's
do agree with you. She did
sincere.
seem to definitely be apologetic and take a lot of accountability. And Nerys and Horacio both did seem, like you said, to be understanding of that. And you know, it does seem like forgiveness is possible. So then I guess she does seem sincere enough in that it seems like they're believing her. So
Yeah, definitely. And again, Nerys said like, no, the door is closed, but hopefully, because then remember,
yeah.
Laurel said love never dies, hashtag, which is it's
Yeah.
the opera sequel that I saw. It's called Love Never Dies. It's horrible.
Yeah.
But so that makes me excited for Laurel and Cara. She's like, sometimes when you're really close with someone, you have that on the show and you
Oh
break up,
God.
the love never dies. So
Those two. Yeah.
Are you talking about All Stars 4 and what's going to go on down with them? I'm excited as well. I mean, I think we should do a whole episode, by the way, before All Stars starts, and we should break down the cast, because I think that the women's side of it is so much stronger than who they got to come back for the dudes. So we can talk about that though at another.
Yeah. I love also that Maria, like we were talking a little bit about Jay earlier, how they show the clip of when Jay says, so I'm in alliance with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, name 7 people. And then he's like, but I also know that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 also like me, and we're kind of protecting each other. And so Maria's like, okay, if you were not in Jay's alliance, raise your hand. And it's only like 4 people. It's Callum,
yeah,
Big T, and Melissa. So it's
it was
like everyone
hilarious.
was in
Like,
his web.
I'm in the US alliance and names everyone from the US, but I'm also allied with and names everyone that's not from the US. But I'm, no, he's ridiculous. He's the worst. I wish that is my like biggest, I wanted some Jay attacking and Jay accountability and Nerys to yell at Jay. And I wanted to know where that was now, and how watching it back, she could be like, how are you sitting there crying? You sent me in twice. Like, you gleefully made me pick. That's the conversations I wanted.
Maybe that happens in the next episode.
I
It
hope
might
so.
happen in the reunion part 2. Oh, did he just walk out with the baby?
Oh yeah, I'm like, they have to get to the Jay and Michelle of it all eventually. Like,
Yeah.
how that alliance was so stupid. Yeah, so we can move on since Dan has to do baby stuff. Yeah, Jenna, that's what I just said. It's like American alliance, like Laurel's accent. These are my notes.
Yeah.
Someone in your alliance.
What did you think about, oh wait, and also Maria called them out because she said, and you were in this Fantastic Four alliance, right? But like no moves were made. It didn't do anything.
It was all very Big Brother of them to like name in Big Brother. All they do is just like go to a room once and make a name, and then that's like, you betrayed, the like laptop shovels. Like, you're not a laptop shovel. Like, well, Cups Are Up is the alliance I was last in when I said. It's just like, shut up.
Yeah.
And why was Unsolved his secret? It's like, why were you in a secret alliance? Like, nobody Soft's my number one. They're so, I don't know, they're weird.
Yeah, I also appreciate, I can't remember who this was that called it out, but somebody called out Emmanuel for having a girlfriend and then proceeded to hook up with 4 people. And Emmanuel is the worst defense lawyer for himself, because he's like, yeah, well, somebody called him a snake for doing that, for cheating on his
It was
girlfriend.
Tori. So Maria asked Tori
what
was the snakiest move, and she was like, I guess Emmanuel. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, and that's correct, right? But his defense is trying to say, well, everyone's a snake, then you can't be on the challenge. And it's like, no, we're not talking about like stabbing someone in the back or using an alliance against someone or manipulating someone, betraying. No, it doesn't work here.
It's not at all the same, right? You didn't snake a person in the game. You snaked your girlfriend at home. Like you made a sneaky move to some girl, not someone in a game move. Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
so
I wanted
bad.
also Tori and Kara to fight more because they had a brief thing where it was like they started fighting
Mm,
about the War of the World season,
that was good.
and I wanted like that to continue.
That was good. Yeah, because Tori did have a point there because that was one of those seasons. And Kara had such a great challenge history, right? Of like being the underdog, being somebody that you root for, like having to fight alone, whether it's herself in an elimination or I was just watching Battle of the Seasons when she was on a team with Camilla and Big Easy and Brandon, and she had to keep going into elimination because Camilla didn't want to. And so like, but then on that one season with World of War that War of the Worlds that Tori was calling her out for, it seemed like that was when
Yeah,
her and Polly were on it, right? And they had all their friends and all their cronies, and they just kind of like,
powerful.
yeah,
And but
yeah,
then, as Polly recently tweeted that I saw right before we jumped onto this, he wrote, "Yeah, Tori, and then you and your friends." He wrote this all lightheartedly. Took our exact playbook for the next 8 seasons. So like,
yeah.
okay,
Well, yeah, I mean, it's everybody does it. Like everybody tries to, of course, you don't want to go into elimination. But sometimes like to not see one and then get into a final is annoying.
it is. No, I agree a million times. So that was Tori's Nerese season. Like a few, and Cara had had hers. It's like great, way to be a champ. We've all had one where you're the one getting thrown in all the time, and you really prove yourself. So I
Mhm.
don't think it's. I think they're all valid points. I get it. It sucks to have to go through, but yeah, if you've got the majority of numbers on you and you want to win $1 million, like you're not going to be like, "I'll go
Yeah.
in. It's the fair thing."
I
You
think
know?
what it comes down to is it's just bad TV. You just don't want to see that. Nobody
No, I
wants
don't.
to root for that, you know? Like sure it makes sense in a game standpoint, but it's very hard to watch and root for and when somebody feels like one person is dominating the whole game.
Completely. And it's just like,
Yeah.
and they're going to like that rookies versus champions. It's like, pick them off. That's what it is very bad, boring TV. There needs to
What
be
did
someone
you
who makes that
what did
up.
you guys think about Laurel calling out Callum and basically saying, you know, change your behavior, change your character?
Well, he was featured. I told you, I knew they were on a show before. Is that like on the Peak one or something? It was that they were on another reality show together, and
Oh, love on the
that's how I originally was introduced to him. He was like really in love with this like girl with blonde hair, or that was his girl, whatever. But yeah, he's always been kind of a scummy guy when it comes to girls, and it looks like next week we're gonna find out more about that. Like Michelle, how did you not know? She's like, oh, you didn't tell me that. Well, Michelle, what are we doing here? We all know that Callum has a girlfriend back home. How do I know, Michelle, but you don't know? But we'll get into that. But Callum's never been a faithful type of guy. So
Yeah.
yeah, Laurel, call him out all you want. That's great. I thought the Laurel
Yeah.
and I forgot that Laurel hooked up with Horacio on that other season too. That was
Yeah,
so
me
Laurel
too.
had a lot of good stuff from this reunion.
I thought it
Laura.
was fun that she was generally like so involved in it, you know, because she was such a one blip on the radar of this season. She was at one elimination, right? Like the purpose of the vets was to come in and do one elimination, but yet she was so involved in this reunion. So
Yeah.
I loved it because you know, you need those electric personalities and you want to, yeah, it was fun to see what she had to say.
Laurel's coming in hot. She still scares me though. I'm like still forever terrified of her just from when I've seen her mean side, and it scares me.
Yeah.
Um, but I think she's right. I think it's fine if she calls out Cullum. I also kind of agree with him that again, now I'm like, that's what it's like, who the fuck are you? What do you know about me? I do kind of feel like he's like, what are you talking
Mhm.
about? We're like shot together for 3 hours.
Well, it's
So
interesting to see her like she's just calling it how she sees it or thinks she sees it because she's actually defending Michelle in that scenario, you know, when
right.
her and
She's like,
Michelle
no,
don't have
you don't even deserve that. I liked
when
that
he
too, though. Michelle's like,
typically does
okay.
not like Michelle. Yeah.
Well, that's why it was funny. 2 seconds before she was like having a little argument with Michelle. Then she's defending Michelle.
Yeah.
This reunion had a lot of great stuff. I mean, I don't even mind like they did a little mini trivia thing where they tried to like associate the old stuff. Didn't bother me. I mean, there was a bunch of little things. The gimmicky beam thing you talked about, little gimmicky, whatever. But still, at least it was different. They tried different things. It wasn't so like and some of the information we didn't already know about, like we usually always do because of social media now. So it felt old school reunion to me. And I hope that part two is even better. Everyone was
too.
crapping on Asaf, which I'm not a fan of Asaf, so I love that part of it. I mean, there was a bunch of good stuff happening here. And I'm sorry, but like Devin is good TV. Like him or hate him as a challenge or whatever, he really has some really good, funny lines. I mean, maybe he pre-planned some of them, but I think the other stuff, he's a really smart kid. And I do think that he's coming up with this on off the cuff. So
Oh yeah. I think Devin's great. Devin brings it. He's always funny. He's clever for sure. No,
yeah, I just think that there was a lot of really great things in this reunion. I'm trying to think what else we can, I mean, kind of talk about. I don't know. I wrote down lots of fun questions. That's what I put at the end there. Lots. How about when Colleen didn't understand the question? That one was ridiculous. Or
I wanted
was
to
she
ask you
just
that.
scared about getting
No, I think she
hate
really
from-
was like, what does desperate mean? She didn't get it. So whatever he said to her,
Yeah. Well, Michelle
was-
got upset by that.
Michelle got
Yeah.
upset. Which
What
I
were you going to
mean-
say, Jenna?
I don't know if I believe Colleen
Yeah. See?
not knowing what desperate means.
oh,
I don't know. She speaks English really well. I don't know why she wouldn't know what desperate means. But if she says that, it seemed like Corey was agreeing with her that he was
Yes.
trying to explain the word to her. So
Corey
that's
bailed her out. If
it was on
anything,
camera.
Corey.
Did we see her say?
okay.
I don't know. I
Okay.
didn't see it.
Well,
I
I
don't
guess my
know.
point is maybe
Was it-
Corey. What if Corey did conspiracy? What if Corey was like, oh God, she's getting destroyed right here. I'll just pretend. Yeah, she told me she didn't understand what it was. Now that's a true friend, Corey. So everyone's
Yeah.
saying Corey's not a true friend. If he was just a true friend to Colleen because he's not with the big T, that's pretty funny. But yeah.
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 What
Yeah,
else about
I
this
just wanted
reunion?
more of the. I really liked the actual discussion between Nerys and Olivia, and that was what I was waiting for and wanted. Like that Horacio came on. I want more. I guess for me, it's all about Nerys at this point. I want to hear what Jay has to say to her. Like I kind of want to hear what everyone has to say to Nerys about things. That's the most what I care about.
All this reunion did was prove more and more why Nerys was the real champion of this season. And I'll say this though, Emmanuel, he did admit that he's now a millionaire in Romania, so the money went a lot further. That's great.
Yeah.
We know he's helping his family. That's also great. I brought up the fact, Jenna, that if he had brought up his grandparents earlier on in the season, and the fact that he's going to actually provide them with heat if he won, then I can get behind that because that's absolutely insane to me that these poor people over there don't have heat for their homes.
Yeah.
So there you go.
And then
There's
his
that.
mom, his young hot mom, but she has to work in another country. Like there's not enough.
Exactly. A lot more
I'm
was
like, okay.
filled.
I
Yeah.
wasn't mad at if I was mad that Nerys didn't win, but Emmanuel, I felt very much did earn. He earned that. Yeah.
I mean, like we said, it's whatever happens in the final, like he didn't really, I don't know. You could call it cheating, but I feel like I don't know.
Well, speaking of cheating, I wanted more of him actually cheating on his girlfriend tonight. I think we're going to get, heck yeah, I think we're going to get more of it in part 2, but I think they're going to break down a little bit more about what actually went down because they don't show us that stuff on the challenge anymore because they're too afraid of, what do you think? I think they're afraid of being canceled or being, whatever, but
she should be getting some of this cut. Remember we said on our
talked
show,
about that. I don't know if she
wins, his poor girlfriend needs to get some of this money because she just got dragged on TV. So give her something, okay?
Exactly.
Buy her a house if you're a millionaire in Romania. Then can you get her something? Pay her rent for the next 10 years?
Or like the version of $1,000. Just sorry, I humiliated you on TV. Here's $1,000.
Or pay her rent for the amount of years that equal the same amount of the girls you cheated on her with.
That's a good idea.
So at least 3 years.
So 4 is what it sounds like,
4,
right? It said 4, yeah. So 4 or 4,000. Thousands in the amount of 4,000's like nothing these damn days, you know.
The Romanian 4,000.
Yeah.
I just want more of the heavy hitting and the real conversations. The things like Corey and Big T and Melissa was significant until it just becomes them screaming at each other. And then it's like, oh, don't stand up and fight. You screaming about screaming. And it's like, all right, I want more semblance than this instead of everyone just trying to get there.
Well, that's another thing, Pamela. I'm glad you brought that up. That's really what bothered me about that is like Big T and Melissa would stand up and tell Corey not to yell at them, even though they've been yelling at Corey. Then don't stand up. Oh, I'm going to stand up. Corey, I mean, was just reacting to what they were doing, but they were making like, no, no, Corey, it's your fault that we stood up. It's your fault that we're yelling. It's like, girls, you're doing that on your own, and then telling Corey he can't do that back to you.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm
don't yell
not.
at women.
I
It's
can't
like,
get on board with those two, huh?
right. Don't yell at women. It's like, well, then you don't come screaming in my face. If you
Yeah.
want to
It's
have a
ridiculous. It's
That
absurd
was-
to me.
screaming at
That was
me.
really like not a good thing of her to say, because then it's like
Wow.
you're wasting, it's like you're trying to weaponize, like misogyny or something when it's not actually happening here, like
Right.
don't cry wolf, like don't use
Yes,
it.
Jenna.
Yeah.
Right. It's like he's not going to physically hurt you. You know that. You know what I mean? He's not he's yelling back because he's matching your energy. He's mirroring
Yeah.
you.
Right.
Yeah.
That's all he was doing. Girls, they were on another level as far as literally, they were on another level. He couldn't reach up to them. They were so far up high on that balcony anyways, wherever they put him up there.
And he was
Yeah.
like, I'm trying to say, like, make a point. And then, no, that's where, again, that I didn't like the dumb ones. I didn't like the dumb fights because
But
there
I,
was so
but I
much
did
real
actually
stuff.
though. Like I found it entertaining. I love it. We're talking about it. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I enjoyed almost this entire reunion, Pam. I don't know why you didn't. Because
I
usually I do
didn't
not.
enjoy
Usually I
it. I just
complain.
I am left with more questions than I had answered. I have so much more that I want to hear. So I'm going to have to
I'll give you that for sure. But again, do they ever really get to the answer? Everyone has their own side of the story. Like you said, their own opinion. They're never going to just get to the end of the story and be like, you know what? You are right and I am wrong. They're never going to get to that part. So it doesn't bother me as much as it clearly bothered you last night or today watching it.
I'm not bothered. So I'm a little bothered, but I think the main thing that I'm really, really missing, I want to feel a sense of like vengeance and justice, and Jay needs to be called to task, and hopefully that will help in next week. But I really feel like
Yeah,
Olivia
he's
got
skating
called out.
by.
And that really needs to be addressed and
Like-
broken down, like called out, like court of law. Like,
But doesn't
this
that go to show you just how boring he was this season? The fact that he supposedly had all this control and he was running the game, but then they can barely come up with anything to say about this guy. And like, even to get mad at him, they're like, maybe this next episode they will, and we'll get to see that. But like, they don't even care to get mad at him because he's just not a part of this show. Like, he was there and he didn't do anything.
didn't get featured tonight too. They're going to have to next week talk about
Yes,
this.
I think Kylan needs to get some more
Yeah,
airtime.
Kylan
for sure.
Horacio versus Jay, because they were, again, the sort of lone wolves. It will get into it. I just want justice for Nerys, and that involves bringing not only Olivia to stand up for what she has done, but Jay as the perpetrator of that, and Michelle, the puppeteers, as well. So
Okay, but let me say this though, Pam. I think that Nerys has all the justice. Everyone is her biggest fan right now. Everyone believes she should have won the challenge. Everyone believes that Olivia's in the wrong, and obviously Jay's in the wrong. So no matter, they can keep talking about it all they want. Everyone is all right.
No.
Anyone that was a Nerys hater in our comment section, do you still hate Nerys or do you love her now? Are you on my side that I've been saying for this whole years and years and years that we've known her on reality TV? I've always been a fan of Nerys. How have everyone, if someone has not come over to the Nerys, being a fan of Nerys, give me the reason why. I would just like to know.
I don't think anyone.
I think that someone will try in our comments to say why they still like Nerys. I think they will.
I wasn't Nerys's biggest fan. I'm glad they showed the clip because someone mentioned it in our comments that I was like, they were like, you called her out for bullying. I didn't play bullying, I don't think, but maybe I did. Raven, I thought she was really mean to out.
Yeah, I agree totally. In the beginning of this season, I did think that she was very like out of line towards
at last year's reunion. She like Raven.
Yeah,
she was clearly a deer in headlights at that last year reunion. Like she couldn't match that. It's like when Laurel like screaming at someone weak and sad.
But you do realize why those two had an issue with each other, really, right?
Word of Johnny, the guy.
It was over my gym buddy, my good old gym buddy.
Oh, not your gym buddy.
All right, so that's the only reason those two were having a tiff. They both realized it was over some douchebag guy, because Johnny, who gives a crap about Johnny? Let's be honest here. And so now they're like best buddies, so it's great.
So I didn't understand Nerys back then. I didn't understand like that is her energy. It's not like that she'll say it and cool down and then admit when she's wrong and cry. That's why she's an amazing reality TV personality. She's sincere and at the surface. She's raw, like all the time. She's raw anger. She's raw love. She's raw forgiveness. She's very raw. It's all right there. So not knowing her, I'm like, this is a little hard to come at this girl who, like, whatever. To me, looks like, I don't know. I don't know. But that's all in the past. I'm glad they're friends now. I truly hope that her and Olivia can have some semblance of friendship. Eventually.
Nerys said no to that, kind of, right? Didn't she kind of like say, no, I don't see myself being friends with her again? So well,
Yeah, but
that's
love
gonna
never
be
dies.
like,
Hashtag.
I'm sorry, but like, why does it matter? Let's say Nerys is broke or poor or whatever. Like, why are you even saying that to Anissa? Like, how is that even a like? What is
That
that,
I
Olivia?
made
I
up a
can't get around that
context.
one.
That's exactly. I'm like, in what context would you be like, she's broke? That's what. So I made up a context where you would say she's broke, and I'm not going to be friends with her anymore. This is the context. Ask me a question like, did me and Jenna hang out last night?
Pam, wait, did you guys hang out last night?
Yes, and like I love Jenna, but I cannot foot the bill every time we go out. I don't even know if we can remember after that.
That's
Like,
exactly,
that's
Pamela, what I
literally
was
the only
thinking.
context that I feel like it could be like,
Yeah.
she said she was broke. She's not going to be friends with her after the season. It's like, I don't know. I'm kind of team Cara, even though I love Anissa forever and for always. I do think it's like, oh, I've got some tea for you. Like, I think she
But here's
likes.
my thing about that, Pam. If that's what Olivia said, and I agree, that would be the context that you could use in it, and it wouldn't be considered that badly. Why didn't Olivia stand up for herself and say, look, the reason I said that is because when we go out, I always pay for her drinks, and I'm sick and tired of it. Why didn't she say that? If that's the truth, because I don't think it really happened. I think she was just being a mean girl.
Well, I don't know that exact scenario really happened, but who would say to someone like, how are you? It looks like you're really good friends with Jenna. Like, yeah, but she's broke. Like, it's the weirdest. And it's
I agree. I can't put the two ends together. I can't make it connect.
Right.
Okay. What is there anything else in this part one reunion that anyone wants to bring up? Because I know we skipped around.
They definitely don't need security. They're not getting any.
Well, I don't know. I think
running out there.
Maria calling out security, Jenna, was like so like in her ear, like, hey, we have security. We want to use them right now. Just say security.
Who I didn't even remember. Oh, Asaf and
right at the end, Asaf versus Kylan.
The almighty cliffhanger. Security needs to come out. It's going to be a brawl. No, it's not.
Asaf.
First off, Asaf in the first place confused what Kylan was even saying.
Again,
I know.
On the show. Again, yeah. Well, you know what? I feel bad for him because no one wants to have that language barrier where they don't know what's going on. But then if you know that you might not know what's going on, maybe don't go after the person with your chest out, accusing them of saying something they didn't say. So when Kylan is basically saying, this is in the show, not the reunion, like, don't bond with a new mom about having kids and, like making that a point of saving each other in the game or whatever. And he was like, what'd you just say about my mom? You're talking about my mom?
Again. And I dislike Asaf, but team Asaf in that argument with Melissa. It's Melissa, again, for the entertainment value, 100%. For the content of her arguments, she's not always got a lot of legs to stand on.
Well, Asaf is a soft, so I'm not really worried about him getting in a fight tonight or to next week with Kylan. So there's that. Anything else we want to bring up? But we did cover a lot of it. I'm sure someone in the comment section will say we missed something. So please feel free to give us your opinion in the comment section about part one of the reunion. I'm looking over my notes here. Everything is
I think we did, and that's where I feel when it was over, I was like, wait, what? I have so much more than I need. So I guess maybe that's just part of the world now, is like the TV show's just the beginning. Then you go and read what everyone says. I guess I have to dive in because I feel like I have so many things that I wanted addressed that were not addressed. Yeah, and I know you can't address everything, a big thing. Yeah. So I will hold off I liked it. I just wanted more. I want more from it.
Yeah, I wrote down some of the trivia questions. Did you ladies know the answers to those 5 trivia questions at the beginning? Like, what year did the challenge start? Did you know that answer?
No. And I thought the original was Real World versus Road Rules.
It quickly got changed to that, but yes, the original season was technically Road Rules All Stars. And then it quickly, like a season or 2 later, got they were like, oh, we need to bring in other people besides the Road Rules people. So, because they only had Road Rules cast, you know, and then they're like, okay, we'll bring the Real World in. Then it was Real World, Road Rules, the challenge. That was the original. And now it's just obviously the challenge.
Yeah.
I knew the answer. Corals was super easy about how one of her boobs could take
Coral.
someone out.
That one.
Wes with the most elimination wins. I thought Anissa as well, but then I realized when Cara was like, no, she has the most losses. I think she definitely has the most losses, but I think she's like in second place for the most wins just because she's been down there like 20 something times,
Yeah,
like 26 times. I think she's like 14 and 16 or some big number like that. And we can look it up on our challenge Wikipedia that we like to use. But yeah. Okay.
I think a Cara and Anissa, you know, enemy rival season, because Cara truly does not like her, and I guess Anissa doesn't like her either. I don't want them to really be partners because then Cara will win. But I do like both of them. So it'd be I like them both. We'll see how they happen. I guess
yeah. I mean, look, I'm excited for All Stars 4. I think the female cast is loaded. I think the male cast leads
can't wait.
Leaves us missing other cast members, but it is what it is.
I'm excited though.
Jay is an all-star? I'm sorry, you don't think Jay?
I can't believe he's back. Now, if you're gonna bring Jay back, you need to have Jenna there just because they used to date. Like you need
That's true.
I'm fine with Jay being there if Jenna's there and if Zach's there too, even better. But you know, whatever. We don't care that Jay's there. He has no affiliation with the show besides with Jenna.
Is Jenna's not there, right?
No, that's the problem.
Yeah, like no one knows who Jay is. That Jay?
Yeah, I mean, but honestly, Jay was cast on The Real World, and then his girlfriend Jenna got brought in as one of those. It was one of those seasons where you got to bring in like your exes or your current relationships. So
Never
fathom that. And then Jenna became a bigger star. That's for damn sure. Yeah. All right. Anyways, that wraps up part 1. We'll see y'all for part 2 next week, and then we'll take a couple weeks off, and then we'll maybe do an intro to the All Stars season, and then we'll cover All Stars on April 10th.
And tell us what you wanted to hear that they didn't ask, because that's where I'm like, I don't even know exactly what it is, but
yeah. And tell us if you want, if there is a random episode you want us to do before All Stars starts besides cast list, you know, give us that too, because then maybe we'll cover it.
I'm like, yeah, definitely sign us up for that, Dan.
Well, I'm just saying that's my point though, Jenna. I'm not gonna like start trying to plan stuff. I'm gonna take my break. But if someone came up with a good idea, I wouldn't be opposed to it. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I got a baby. I need a break, Jenna. I'm like, you got a baby.
Like, yeah.
All right. Apparently, we're taking a break, everybody. Unless you come up with the most amazing thing for Jenna. Come up with something that Jenna's really gonna want to talk about, or we ain't doing it. How about that, Jenna?
Oh shit.
There you go. Fair.
That's
Love
fair.
is Blind, or I just watched One Day on Netflix. Oh my god.
Oh, you watched Love is Blind. Well,
yeah.
Well, we talked about Love is Blind last week, Jenna, because we're upset. I gotta go finish. I have one more episode.
I was like, I'm catching up right now.
Me too. Okay, let's all go watch.
Okay, I'm seriously gonna go watch. All
Maybe
right.
we'll do a wrap up.
Okay.
Me too. Literally, that's what I'm like. Okay, bye. I have it on pause. Where
Okay, bye.
Hey, we thought last night. Okay.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.